The Okafor penthouse overlooked the city's skyline, its windows sparkling with the reflections of thousands of moving lights, cars weaving through traffic, phone screens glowing, street vendors calling out, music drifting in from rooftop parties. Chica, Emeka, and Remy paused by the entrance, one part nervous, one part hopeful, and one part annoyed. The elevator had arrived at the top floor with a musical ping, delivering them into the world of their childhood memories, now layered with adulthood's complexities. Their father, Chief Okafor, had built an empire, real estate, tech investments, a charitable foundation. His face appeared on magazine covers, his name uttered in boardrooms. 2 weeks had passed since the funeral, but the announcement still lingered. The true inheritance will go to the child who proves themselves most deserving, through tests I have designed just for you. Old family rivalries, usually buried under polite WhatsApp chats and curated Instagram feeds, began to bubble. Chica scrolled through her notifications as she stepped into the foyer, gray-suited and sharp-eyed, managing clients for a top tech firm. Let's get this over with. I need to make a call. Remy, earbuds in, looked up from her travel vlogs and TikTok drafts. Come on, sis. You'll miss the adventure. Maybe Dad left us Bitcoin instead of banknotes. Emeka, in his faded jeans and charity t-shirt, had just arrived from volunteering at his father's old foundation. Can we try to get along? That's what Dad wanted, right? Waiting for them at the marble dining table was Uncle Ifenier, now executor of the estate, with 3 sleek black tablets neatly arranged. Next to each was an envelope sealed with red wax. Uncle Ifenier cleared his throat. Your father's wishes were clear. You will follow clues, each designed to challenge your character. Think beyond just money. He cared for integrity, ingenuity, unity. You succeed together, or you fail apart. He handed out the tablets and envelopes. Each revealed the same digital clue. In the vault of memories and mistakes, where laughter and regrets collide, unlock what money cannot buy, and see if you can survive inside. The penthouse was a maze of smart tech, fingerprint locks, scanning cameras, a hidden vault in the study, and a wall of family portraits, each equipped with tiny QR codes. Chica immediately scanned the nearest code, searching for a banking password or crypto wallet seed phrase. Remy filmed the process for content, but stopped, remembering the old gaming console. Dad loved the one they fought over as kids, now gathering dust in the media room. Emeka wandered to the foundation's wall of photographs, seeing himself as a boy, arms linked with children from the orphanage his father always championed. The game was on. Chica decoded a biometric puzzle, unlocking access to her father's archived diary entries, stories about her stubbornness, praise for her drive, worries about her inability to forgive. Remy solved a virtual scavenger hunt, finding old home videos, birthday parties, school plays, bickering, tears, laughter. Emeka cracked security logs to uncover messages Dad sent to staff, always thanking them, always highlighting the importance of kindness. As the siblings hustled, sparred, laughed, and sometimes snapped at each other, something shifted. The clues got harder, but the answers always led to moments they had shared, secrets they had kept, mistakes they had forgiven or not, and times they had helped each other succeed. It became clear the challenges were designed to make them confront their flaws, remember who they were before money and ambition changed them, and rediscover the bonds long neglected. Hours passed. The final clue, unlocked together when Chica, against her instincts, asked Emeka and Remy for help, led to their father's video message, recorded in his last days. My legacy is not these awards, these buildings, nor the balance in my accounts, he said, smiling, voice frail, but eyes bright. It's the love you share, the unity you forge, and the kindness you sow. If you can find these, then everything I own is yours, but only together. The siblings sat in silence, tears prickling their eyes. For the first time in years, they saw each other not as rivals, but as family. Chica's phone buzzed with incoming messages from her law firm's partners. She ignored them, gripping her tablet tighter. Her sense of control depended on staying ahead. If the clues led to some hidden investment account, she'd be the one with the skills to find it. Dad always said she was the sharpest of the Okafor children, but too stubborn for her own good. She scrutinized her father's encrypted diary, looking past old business projections and charity plans. At the end of one digital entry was a tangled code, a riddle about forgiveness, that sent a shiver through her. Chica had always prided herself on being right, even if it cost her closeness with her siblings. A few rooms away, Remy crawled behind the living room's smart projector, hair pulled back, hands smudged with dust. Vlogging instinct fizzled into nostalgia as she unearthed the ancient PlayStation Dad kept as his stress relief. She plugged it in. The old intro song filled the air. On a cracked CD case, her father had scribbled, "For the days you all unite as superheroes." On the memory card was one unfinished save file named Okafor Team. Remy smiled. She sent a group message to her siblings. "We used to play together. If you're serious about this, come here." Emeka saw the message just as he found an old notebook in his dad's study, buried beneath expense reports for the family foundation. On the first page, in Dad's looping handwriting, was a single phrase, "Charity begins at home." Emeka remembered the day, rain battering the city, Dad making them take turns carrying groceries for their elderly neighbor. He had hated it, but years later he ran Dad's foundation, putting those words to work. Reluctantly, the siblings converged in the media room. The room smelled like popcorn and ambition. Remy handed out old game controllers with a peace-offering smile. On the TV, the game loaded. Avatars their younger selves had created. Chica's superhero with horns and a lawyer's briefcase. Emeka's healer with magical hands. Remy's sprinter with wings on her sneakers. They played mostly in silence, until the game's storyline forced their avatars to team up against an unbeatable boss. They bickered, teased one another, and finally, worked together. They won. The save file completed, trophy unlocked. A text flashed on the TV. Unity unlocks the next step. The wall behind the TV slid open, revealing a slim metal safe. Emeka opened it, hands trembling. Inside, old photographs, a USB stick, and a handwritten letter. Remember read aloud. "To my children. If you're reading this, you've proven you still remember how to be a team. Inside this USB is the key to my true legacy. It's not what you think. Love always. Dada." Chica's defenses began to crumble. She looked at her brother and sister, tears gathering in the corners of her eyes, an unfamiliar and uncomfortable feeling. Emeka placed a gentle hand on Chica's shoulder. "Maybe we've been looking for the wrong thing." Remember plugged in the USB. A video began. Their father's voice, warm but weary. "You are my treasure. What I built for you to share, not to fight over. Your love, your unity, your laughter, these are worth more than any property or sum. If you can forgive each other for old wounds, I've left instructions for the estate to pass to all of you, equally, under one condition. Run the Okafor Foundation together for 1 year. If you succeed in making a difference together, the assets are yours. If not, they go to charity. So my children, what matters most is not what you inherit, but the people you become." For a long time, none of them spoke. Remy, always the first to break a tense silence, finally grinned. "So we have to work together, or lose everything." Chica laughed through her tears. Dad was always a step ahead. Emeka felt lighter than he had in years. Let's show him his faith wasn't misplaced. The city lights outside glimmered, and somewhere in the penthouse, the old housekeeper who had watched them bicker, cry, and grow, smiled. For the first time in a long while, hope filled the Okafor home. A week passed in a blur. The Okafor siblings, once adversaries, now uneasy partners, assembled in the glass-walled boardroom of the Okafor Foundation's headquarters. Chica wore her best navy suit, phone on silent, a notepad full of action items. Emeka, perpetually underdressed, arrived balancing stacks of donation receipts beneath one arm and his battered laptop under the other. Remy breezed in with a messenger bag, camera on one shoulder, iced coffee in hand, already streaming her day in the life to a growing social audience. They faced a skeptical staff, loyal to their father's memory, but wary of the heir's motives. Mrs. Ijeoma, the silver-haired head of operations, greeted them with a stern smile. "Your father's shoes are too big for one person. Let's see how 3 fit." Their father's challenge was clear. They had 1 year to expand the foundation's reach, double its scholarship recipients, and launch one project benefiting the entire city. Every major decision had to be unanimous. Disagreements were frequent and dramatic. Chica wanted to invest in coding boot camps for underserved youth. Remy championed creative arts and digital media programs. Emeka insisted they put immediate funds into food banks and medical clinics. Each proposal had merit, and each was fiercely defended. One afternoon, the first major test arose. A critical grant proposal, drafted by Chica, was rejected by the board for seeming too cold and corporate. Fuming, Chica stormed out. Emeka found her on the rooftop garden, phone in hand, staring at the city. "I'm used to winning," she admitted, not asking for input or forgiveness. Emeka sat beside her, careful with his words. "Dad forgave all our mistakes sometimes. You have to forgive mine too." Remy, watching the two from behind a blooming hibiscus, live-streamed her thoughts in a video journal. "We're learning that family isn't about winning. Sometimes it's about letting someone else be right." The siblings found common ground by piloting a combined project, a digital storytelling competition for Lagos youth, pairing coding skills with creative expression, and donating proceeds to city food banks. The campaign went viral, thanks in part to Remy's online audience and Chika's business networks. Emeka quietly visited beneficiary families on weekends, filming short testimonials to build momentum. Together they worked late nights, argued over budgets and branding, and celebrated every milestone. Their efforts bore fruit. The project attracted international sponsors, and the foundation's scholars won national awards. For the first time, their late father's office wasn't a museum of memories, but a living center of laughter and hope. Staff meetings ended with group selfies. The walls echoed with ideas, and sometimes even apologies. 6 months in, challenges mounted. A vital donor withdrew. A rival foundation tried to poach staff, and a viral rumor nearly ended the competition. Tensions flared. Chika accused Remy of being reckless online. Remy accused Emeka of hiding bad financial news. At their lowest, they considered giving up, letting the assets default to charity as their father's video had decreed. It was Mrs. Ejuma who intervened, gathering them in the rooftop garden under the bright city stars. "You've made mistakes," she said, "but you've given more hope in 6 months than this foundation has seen in years. You've turned a legacy of wealth into a legacy of meaning together. That is your father's true inheritance. Don't let it slip away over pride." They realized success wouldn't be measured in numbers alone, but in growth, forgiveness, and the rediscovery of love. As the year's deadline approached, pressure mounted. The foundation's largest donor threatened to pull out unless the siblings could prove real, measurable impact. The digital storytelling initiative was a hit, but the numbers for coding boot camps and food bank deliveries lagged. Social media buzzed with speculation. Were the heirs of Chief Okafor just chasing clout, or could they deliver lasting change? Chika confronted Remy in the editing suite. "You can't spin our way to impact. We need programs, not just viral videos." Remy bristled, but then quietly pulled up a video of a soft-spoken girl from Makoko, sharing how the mobile coding class helped her fix her mother's phone and dream about becoming an engineer. "Maybe not all wins are big," Remy said, "but to her, this is everything." Tension simmered at home too. Their penthouse became a maze of family group chats, passive-aggressive sticky notes in the kitchen, missed calls and misunderstood texts. Emeka tried to broker peace. Sunday dinner, home-cooked jollof, all phones switched off. They argued over the rice, but by dessert, Chika and Remy were laughing about old escapades, sneaking out as teens, their father grounding them, then sneaking them their favorite suya on the side. After dinner, cleaning up, Chika found herself apologizing. "You deserve more credit than I give you, Remy. You too, Emeka. I'm not good at letting go." Emeka smiled. "Maybe you don't have to let go of control. Maybe you just share it." They compromised. Chika streamlined the scholarship selection process for transparency. Emeka used his contacts to ask for emergency medical supplies as part of the digital campaign. Remumba transformed her online series into spotlight documentaries for overlooked communities. It worked. Applications for the next round of scholarships doubled. A journalist wrote a glowing op-ed. "The Okafor heirs aren't just fundraising, they're remaking philanthropy for the digital age." Suddenly their estranged donor texted Chika, "Proud of how far you've come. Let's talk." But the true test arrived in an unexpected way. At the charity outreach in Makoko, a fire broke out in the floating school, where their program had just expanded. Chaos erupted. Parents screaming, teachers trying to save children, journalists hovering, the story already spreading online. Emeka raced into the building, organizing a bucket line of volunteers. Chika used her position to mobilize fire and rescue teams, lobbying city authorities and posting real-time safety updates online. Remy streamed the evacuation live, directing resources and support straight from her followers, calling for urgent help. Everyone survived, but they were shaken. That night, back at the foundation, the siblings sat in silence. Remy finally spoke. All this, it could be gone tomorrow. But I realized what Dad meant. This us working together. That's the inheritance he wanted us to keep. They launched an emergency fundraising drive. In a week they rebuilt the community school, with volunteers from across Lagos. The bond between them, once fragile, had become their unbreakable legacy. The Okafor Foundation's annual gala sparkled under Lagos's night sky. Photographers milled about, capturing the city's elite, community leaders and the three siblings who stood, transformed, at the center of it all. Remy, once the family's wild card, now addressed the crowd with a heartfelt speech. Her voice carried over the guests, on live streams, on every screen in the room. We came here as rivals, but we leave as partners, and as a family remade. Emeka took the stage next. Our greatest successes weren't strategic meetings, viral campaigns, or even rebuilding Makoko's school. They were in forgiving old wounds, rediscovering each other, and serving side by side. Tunka closed the program. She held up the USB stick, now a symbol of unlikely unity. Our father believed wealth means nothing if it divides. Our legacy is what we build together and what we give away. Mrs. Ijeoma, smiling through tears, announced that the foundation's scholarship applications were up by 300%, and the digital storytelling competition had given hope and a voice to hundreds of local students. The board members, who had doubted the siblings at first, shook their hands, congratulated them, and praised their courage. As the Okafor siblings hugged, photos flashed, and applause filled the room. News outlets ran stories not on rivalry but on unity, innovation, and impact. Weeks later, the siblings gathered at the penthouse for a private celebration. In the living room, a place once filled with silence, Chika passed around glasses. Remy filmed snippets for her family vlog, and Emeka turned up the music, laughter echoing off the walls. Suddenly, Uncle Ifinye arrived, bearing a final envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten by their father, found in an old coat pocket by Mrs. Ijeoma. My dearest children, if you read this, you have honored me in a way fortune never could. I always believed that the heart of inheritance isn't gold or property, but love, trust, and unity. You have proven me right. Live generously, lead kindly, forgive bravely. All my love, Dad. No one spoke for a moment. Their tears said all the words they needed. Chika, Emeka, and Remy felt the weight of what they'd earned. Not the estate, not the business, but each other. They stepped onto the balcony, where Lagos sparkled below, a city their family would continue to serve together. The true treasure wasn't money. It was the love that endured,